Well, a whole lot has been said about committees and even other agencies set up. You hear words like job for the boys. Well, how much of effect do we get from such committees, especially those at the National Assembly? How much of development have we been able to see nationally from the outcome of such committees? Joining us to look at National Assembly committees this morning is a lawyer, Benson Enikuomehin. Good to have you join us this morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
Well, you've been in politics and we see how all of this plays out. We'll talk about committees and committees. Loads of them we've seen rather all through the year 2012. And specifically, there are some that one expect that would have been able to get some kind of a report or implementation of such reports from such committees. A case in point is the National Assembly. Let's talk about the oversight functions of the National Assembly as well as committees from the National Assembly. Perhaps as a lawyer, from the legal aspect point of view, is it necessary having such committees in place in the first place?
Well, it is necessary. Precisely Section 80 of the Constitution and 88, I think 88 should be subsection 1 to 2 or thereabout, talks about the National Assembly setting up committees that will look into affairs of government. Ordinarily, and it is natural though, the National Assembly cannot work except through committees. It's not feasible. In the Senate, we have 309 members. At the House of Representatives, we have 360 members. These members cannot just sit together and then say everything will be done that way. So usually in the presidential system of government...
Is it 109 at the Senate?
109 at the
yes.
Senate, yes.
Okay.
360 at the House of Representatives. And that's a large chunk. And so committees are set up for the purpose of addressing it. And you know, the fewer the numbers, the better it will be for issues to be well trashed out, for the issues to be well addressed. And we expect that people whom we vote for should be men and women of integrity, high probity, people whom we should trust, people whom we can rely upon. Whether they are, is a different story altogether, but presumably that is the way it should be. And so it is natural that committees be set up to address the various issues that may be on hand. And I think, to a large extent, the committees that are set up are good in themselves. But my worry is the outcome of these various committees, particularly the oversight function. What effect has it taken on the various organizations for which they were to oversee? Because an oversight function will mean that I have opportunity of looking at what you are doing, addressing them, and with the purpose of making it to work better. In fact, by the law, they are to expose corruption. That's what Section 182 it talks about. It's to expose corruption. Yes.
Dr. Enikuomehin, just hold on a little bit. Sorry to cut you there. We just understand that there is a situation around the Arepo fire over the weekend. We have on the phone live Shem Obashaye of the Civil Defense Corps. Good morning, Shem. Could you please bring us up to speed on the happenings around the Arepo section or where we had the explosion over the weekend? Hello, Shem. I think we lost that particular call. We understand there is another explosion around the section where the NNPC, PPMC has just fixed concerning the explosion over the weekend. We hope that Shem will get back to us online to tell us what exactly is happening. Well, back to you, Dr. Enikuomehin. You were talking about the oversight functions of the National Assembly.
While they expose the corruption, then they will also go ahead to assist government parastatals, government bodies, to be able to perform better. So essentially, these are the two functions that the oversight function of the National Assembly are enjoined to carry out. And I think to a large extent that is what should be done. But now when we look at the various committees to find out, have they exposed? If they have exposed, then we also need to find out how far have they been able to affect the various parastatals, the various government functions or functionaries to be able to perform their duties and do them very well. That would be an issue to look at.
Well, so far so good. How would you rate, I mean, how they have performed? Because we've seen the last 2012 was a year for most of the committees in the House to set up probe panels. I don't think we've seen that many amount of probe panels as we did see in 2012. How would you rate the effectiveness of those committees?
There was a time in this country when we were not made to know anything. Everybody was black. I will refer to it as dark period, where you will not even know what is happening anywhere. Now, I must commend the National Assembly. There are areas that they may have improvement. The fact that they will come up to say, let's look at what happened at the oil industry. And then we saw and we heard and we listened and we saw the mess that was on. It is part of their function.
So they were able to uncover some of
course,
these
yes.
issues.
That is the duty. Their section 88 says they should expose.
Of course, we also saw the scandal that followed that.
Very well, very well. You see, that's a different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is that they exposed. After exposing, the next thing they should do is to ensure that that particular body or organ or department moves ahead from the stage of docility in which it was, or corruption as it were. But you see, if the man who is to rescue you from water, he himself is sinking, you can be sure that there is a challenge. And that's why I get worried that our men, our people, in whatever level, we should be like Caesar's wife. Posture, live above board. And therefore, if you are examining A, B, C, D, do know that you too must be a person of high probity. And that was what I expected of the various committees, as it were.
We do know that that particular committee started very early in the year, and then the scandal broke somewhat much later. And we also saw the committee, Securities and Exchange Committee, the committee oversighting the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, we also saw what also happened, what transpired. Would you have said that, say, the House of Representatives, for instance, carried out more investigations to let people know what exactly transpired between their members and those that they were supposed to be probing, so as not to cast a shadow on all the other committees that were set up? Because these scandals, don't they have the ability to be able to make people get cynical about committees set up by, say, the House or even the Senate?
But you are right. That is the truth. You see, Jesus said something, I think it's in the book of Matthew. He said, why behold the mote in your neighbor's eye when you have a beam in your own eye? You know, the beam is bigger than the mote. So the mote is a tiny one. And I think that both houses in the National Assembly should be more forceful on their members